Welcome to this week's edition of Mainely Motorsports, and I feel privileged and honored to have a friend of mine and who I met through the gravel business. Yep. We always talk about the gravel business.
The aggregate.
Sean Moody, who I still believe I should be calling him Governor Sean Moody.
Wow, thanks, Steve.
That was fun, huh?
Yeah, it was different. I'm just a small business guy, like a lot of people out there, just frustrated with the way things go. Small business always seems to get the short straw. It's a big government, big business. They're the ones writing the laws and the regulations, and us, the small businesses are just grinding it out. Yeah, trying to make it work.
And a lot of guys will say what they want to say and move on, but you gave it. Yeah, said it, and you got the family on board, and you went for it.
He was a big supporter. All the race fans out there, put the stickers on and trying to, But again, the vast majority of racers are small business people. With the families and they work hard and they know what it's like.
What's funny is if you go to Bangor still and up in the county in Spud, because a lot of those guys don't change their cars from year to year.
Right.
You can still see
some of them stickers out there.
You see them Moody for Governor stickers. Well, but you've supported us for quite a few years on the show, and you go to the races. You've seen at some racetracks once in a while, and short track racing, that's just like small business, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. No, when I was a kid, I went to Beach Ridge. My cousin's good in Hannaford, so he kind of cut my teeth on racing. I was about 13 and actually washed the car, the parts, pistons, and everything to assemble of the old J2 Camaro. So you think about the success, it has nothing to do with me at that time, but that Goodwin had with Jerry Seavey and Homer, and it was pretty incredible. So for being 12 or 13 years old to be exposed to that level of racing, I kind of got my PhD there.
Well, what's funny now, to be 12 or 13, these kids are racing now. They're racing legend cars at 14. Some of them are racing super late models. So how this sport has changed, just like in anything. Change.
Yeah, progress. And the other side of my automotive career was I worked for Ron Caruso at Ron's Vet Center. I was about 14, I guess, when I started working with him, and they were at the drag strip. So I got the best of both worlds. The roundy rounds and the 8th mile up to Oxford. It was pretty fascinating to see the differences between chassis hookups and suspension setups to try to get the car to launch or to get it to corner. It was a total different physics and everything. People thought when you're drag racing, you didn't have to take a left. Just straight. But there was a lot of chassis setup, more than people would probably give them credit, to get the chassis to work, to get the traction, to get out of the hole. That's where you win the races, out of the hole.
Now, I've always gone to, I would have gone to Oxford, and obviously we have Winterport in the state, and New England Dragway. But the NHRA was over at New England a couple weeks ago, and
I guess they put on.
You want to talk about
show.
launching?
Yeah.
Sitting at the start-finish line, and literally, it felt like it was going to blow your head off when they take off. And you talk about
3,400 horsepower, whatever it is.
I don't know what it is, but and that was just amazing. So the effort that they put in to go 3 or 4 seconds, with the adjustments and all that they do.
When we went up to Oxford and I was on Alan Caruso's kind of pit crew, I helped him on his car, but worked for Ronnie. And Ronnie ran almost on the national record. He had a 64 coupe that he put a knife edge small block in, and 2 1050 Dominators on it, airflow research heads. It had the latest and greatest. And I can remember going up there to Oxford. They had Hemi under glass, they had Big Daddy Don Garlits. They had the national acts. Yeah. At least once a year up to Oxford in the heyday back in the 70s. So you just became hooked, addicted.
Now, how come you don't have something like that in your stable?
Well, I think being in a small business, I knew myself well enough. If I get in, it was all over. So I had to kind of just, all right, is it the business or is it racing?
So if Sean decided he wanted to do a little drag racing, we wouldn't have 9 shops located throughout central and southern Maine.
You get your coworkers I had to think of, and make a future for them. But I still love cars, love racing, and I built a couple street rods when I was a kid. One of them was a 33 Chevy Coupe, and they had closed Oxford at the time. So John Roberts was a great friend at Roberts Welding there. We took a dump truck emergency brake, put it on the back of the tranny, put it on a 350 turbo automatic with a manual shift body and a high stall converter, and nobody could beat that car on the street. I had a little quarter-inch piece of plate that came up through the floorboard, and I had a piece of pipe I'd slide over, and I'd yank that tranny brake, and 3,500, 4,000, and launch, it was all over. Anybody that was racing me on the street, they had 4 speeds, they just sit there and spin.
Really?
Yep, so that was probably back in like 81, 82. That had a couple, I had a tunnel ram, a couple 4-barrels on it. It was a light car, and I had a 55 Chevy rear end, so I could knock the chuck out. I had a 308 gear rear end set, and then I had a set of 538s. So when you saw me cruising down through town, revving about $3,000, going 40 miles an hour, I was probably up to something.
Yeah, up to something.
But we had to race on the street back then. The drag strip. Winterport was the only one up in Bangor. We'd go up there occasionally too. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, they do a lot up there with and I can't even think what it's called, but they're like the vintage look ones. Not all the new stuff, and that's a big event when they put those on.
Yep.
And these guys, the drag race guys and the circle track guys, and that's one of the things we always try to do is get them to cross over. Just kind of support each one. And I know Oxford just came off their show Shine and Drag, and there was quite a few circle track guys going around looking at the hot rods, and and that everywhere has cruise nights.
Right.
I mean,
That's
everywhere, right. And I mean, Bentley's one of our supporters. They have a huge one every Tuesday.
Yeah, they're great guys. Bentley's a super nice guy. He's talking about motorheads.
Yeah, no, exactly.
He lives at Breeze at his age. I mean, the guy is phenomenal. You think about what he's been able to accomplish and still does. I think is he gonna?
Well, he just raced a couple weeks ago.
Did he?
It was supposed to just be a he came to Beach Ridge in Oxford, and he was just a little exhibition thing.
Take a couple laps around
and then
for the crowd.
Yeah, he took a couple laps and said, I want to take 75 more laps, and he ended up
I'm going to
racing.
take the check-in.
Yeah, so no, it was pretty good, and so it is a chance to get out and check out those cruise nights, because that's when you see the Chevelles and the Camaros of yesteryear.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Phil Libby, Bob Libby, just really great friends over the years, and Ralph Cusack. I mean, when I went to Beach Ridge with Goodwin back then in the heyday, with the like the J2 Camaro running, that was great racing. They had the modifieds. I mean, it was the 70s. I don't know if we'll ever be able to replicate that. It was just incredible to live through that period of time.
And you go, and I know there's a lot of viewers of Mainely Motorsports that belong to the old Beach Ridge Memories page on Facebook. Yep. And you look at the cars. The thing that I always look at is the crowd.
Yeah.
And how that's changed, and I think it's that's just life. People have so much to do. Kids are busy. Whereas when we were younger, as soon as the races were over this Saturday, all we kept thinking about was next Saturday.
Right. I can remember if there's people out there remember these. I can remember being up in Oxford the night. Remember when Streaking was like a big? They had the show, the song, The Streak.
Yep.
Well, I remember being up there, and I was about, again, 13 or 14 years old. I was a single parent. My mom raised us, so I had way more freedom than I should have had,
Yeah.
But anyway, I was up there with the Crusoes, and they actually had a lady and a guy pull up to I'll let them go unnamed, pulled up to the Christmas tree, right? Came down, they got out of the car naked and ran down the track.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They went about 100 yards, and then they pulled up, picked him up, and went. But I was there that night. If anybody out there remembers that, they'll get a chuckle out of it.
Oh, wow. So, no, it is.
Crazy.
And, obviously the sport's changed now. I don't think Candy Cusack wants to see anybody doing that.
This is up to the dragway.
That's
why they closed it for a while.
Yeah, no, exactly. But we're here with Sean Moody, a longtime supporter of the show, and, a supporter of a lot of different things. And we're going to take a break. We come back. I want to talk to Sean about some racing. I mean, July is a huge month for racing, and being whether you're a little race fan or a big race fan, you know what goes on in the month of July. So we're going to take a break and be right back here on Mainly Motorsports.
Everyone knows Scott's Recreation sells RVs and campers, but did you know Scott's Recreation is becoming one of New England's largest trailer dealers too? Over 600 units sold since January 1st. Everything from snowmobile trailers to enclosed cargo trailers to open utility trailers to equipment trailers to dump trailers and more. And now Scott's Recreation is stocking 2, 3, and 4-horse trailers featuring aluminum models made right here in Maine. Get more details online. Scott's Recreation, Route 4 Turner, Route 202 Manchester, Maine.
Don't let the other guys rough you up. Shop online at otmotorsales.com.
Clark's Eastside Scrap and Westside Scrap, two of the region's most efficient scrap yards. Both locations have the latest and greatest equipment, along with large capacity scales that are constantly calibrated to ensure honest weights. Car crushing, roll-off containers, scrap metal. Clark's Eastside Scrap in Chelsea and Clark's Westside Scrap in Farmingdale. Don't fix it, scrap it.
Mainly Motorsports TV, brought to you by
Moody's Collision Centers, now with 7 convenient locations: Gorham, Scarborough, Biddeford, Portland, Sanford, Lewiston, and now South Portland. Visit us at moodyscollision.com.
Southern Maine Motors, out to be Maine's #1 Chrysler Dodge Jeep dealership, Route 1 Saco.
We're back here with Sean Moody, and you know, you follow racing. You don't race yourself.
Yeah, no.
That's why you have 9 locations.
Wow.
No, I will say it. That's why you have 9 locations. But
I always felt, in our business especially, I never could. I didn't have the conscience to say, if we're working on a car getting ready for a Saturday night show, and someone's not going to be able to go to work, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, wait a minute, I need my car to go to work Monday. I don't care about stock. You know what I mean? So it's my conscience wouldn't allow me to kind of drift too far in that, and plus I knew myself well enough to know if I did get into it, it would be no turning back.
Yeah, we'd still have that little shop in Gorham and nothing else, right?
Well, maybe, but we've had fun anyway.
But you know, you follow the sport a little bit, and you know, one of the big things that's going on this weekend at Loudon is, you know, local boy Archie St. Hilaire owning his own cup deal, giving another local boy, Eddie McDonald, and the opportunity to compete on the big stage with the likes of Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt.
Wow.
And in his home state, really. I mean, he lives in Newburyport or whatever, but he's a New Hampshire boy. His family and his parents, Red and Judy, own Lee USA Speedway. So, you know, how big of a deal you think that is for that family?
How old is he?
Eddie's in his 30s, you know, so.
Still, I mean, you know.
Early 30s, maybe, late 20s.
It's no different than a kid bouncing a basketball right in his yard. Hoping someday he can play for the Celtics. You know? I mean, it's just for him, the dream about that your entire life, and you're one out of a million, right, to make it. I mean,
well,
look at the people that try.
He's going to be one out of 43 that gets called over the stage during driver introductions.
That is pretty phenomenal. I know that crowd will make him.
Right at
home.
I'm sure when they being the hometown boy, and everybody support him, and everybody realizes that he's not really going there racing for the win, as those top teams, the budgets they have versus the budget that Archie and his gang go. But you know what? They're
kudos
supporting
to Archie
it.
and his, when you think of philanthropy, you always think of someone, getting a library named after him or something like that. But you think about the impact he's going to have on this young man's life and just racing in general for the local community. Say, hey, it's possible. So you chase your dreams. It's possible.
Yeah, so I mean, there's still plenty of tickets available down New Hampshire, and a chance to make it a great weekend. And somebody else that's getting an opportunity on Saturday to drive for Junior Motorsports. His second ride is Austin Terrio, the young man from Fort Kent, Maine. And we did a young gun competition a few years back, and we had, I think there was 90 names that were voted in. We did it right up the Augusta show. The top 10 were the finalists, and then they were followed along. And Austin was the winner, and the what the winner got was a chance to drive Archie's K&N car down to Loudon. So, I mean, for the guy that, has dabbled in racing his whole life, he's at a point where he's at the top level of his career, but he's given back. And that's,
in Fort Kent, it's like another time zone to a lot of people. How many people have been up to Fort Kent? That's a haul.
Yeah, so,
it's good.
This kid, everybody knows how hard Austin's worked to give himself this opportunity, and it all started with Archie, and with the Young Gun program and getting his feet wet, and so it's a huge day, in my opinion, for the viewers of Mainly Motorsports, or a huge weekend, to see Austin, who we've had on the show, and really introduced him to the state of Maine. Not saying I get teased all the time. People say you found him, but I introduced him to the state of Maine. I went there, liked what I saw, did an interview with him, and and brought him down to the viewers, and now he's
involved. Gave him some hope. Give him some exposure.
Well, yeah.
And he's run with it.
And any person that is a motorsports fan knows Austin Terrio. It's a household name. And, he's going to be down at Loudon on Saturday. And then, obviously, the Eddie Mack thing. And I can't imagine what his parents are going to feel like when, you know,
Oh,
they
geez.
hear his name
Put a lump
announced
in their throat,
as he
boy.
comes up
Yeah.
over the stage, and you know the ovation he's going to get, you know, being the local boy, and
Yep.
and he's won down there in the K&N car, and I mean he's got a lot of things that he's done in his career, so you know this, you know, I don't think it'll get any bigger. No matter what he wins for races from here on out, getting a chance to start a Sprint Cup race in front of your hometown
Oh, my gosh.
crowd, I mean that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, you've been some butterflies this time, I guess for sure. It take a couple laps for it to get okay. You know,
Yeah.
this is really happening. You know,
Yeah, I know it.
it's in a dream.
And then a week later, you know, the working man's race, the Oxford 250.
Oh man, that's, you know, that is, you know, when you think about local talent, you know, Mike Rowe, obviously. I met Mike about 4 years ago, I think. The gal that was at Jordan Emerson that had hit the wall, and Mike, we fixed the car up, and Mike was there at the track, and I met Mike, and he's just a quality guy, you know, just, and again, you think about, a lot of people in business, they think, oh, person in business, you know, they make money. Most of your successful business people are in business to help people. And if you do it right, you know, then the money is kind of a byproduct of that. It's
Yeah.
not your driving force, you know, and you look at the people that you've mentioned, like Archie, you know, they've made a few bucks, you know what, they're anxious to give it back, to help.
Yeah.
Help people like them that started from scratch, give them an opportunity.
Yeah,
You know,
no.
and Mike Rowe's a good example of that too. A guy came up the hard way, and he's been extremely successful, you know. And at his age, Mike's going to be like early 60s, right? He's out there. I mean, you try to get by him.
Yeah, really.
Good luck with that.
Well,
Right?
it was funny. We went a couple weeks ago to Canada. We didn't have the best of days, and you know, and I love to tease Mike and about, you know, he don't know how many races he's ever won because he's a very humble man,
Right,
you know.
yeah.
But I'll have people say to me, "Oh my God, he's won like 300 races." I go, "Yeah, but how many has he lost? He's lost more than he's won."
Yeah,
you know,
right.
And they're like,
Yeah, no, it's
"Geez,
humbling.
yeah,
It
you
is
know,
humbling.
And
Yeah.
but yeah, that's going to be a huge event, and you know, the likes of, you know, we got guys coming from the South, we got guys coming from Canada, you know, obviously the local talent, and this is a race that,
The richest race in
you know,
America, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's the
short
richest
track,
one-day short
deal.
track, yeah. And everybody that grow up in Maine, you know, that sets in that go-kart for the first time, obviously the Daytona is their big dream, but realistically,
Oh, Oxford
if you
250.
ask them the realistic dream, it's to compete and win that race.
Yeah, and you think about Bob Beer, you know, his legacy was created through the 250 because that's where his connections were made down south. That's
Yeah.
where he really made the bonds and the connections and relationships were forged around the Oxford 250, and look where that's gone.
Yeah,
I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars NHIS has generated. It's an incredible story.
Yeah, and then, you know, the 250 it's one of those deals that just, it lives on us. You know, when you say the 250, you don't have to say a sponsor's name, you don't have to say Oxford or anything. You just say the 250, and everybody knows. And next week's show is going to be great because we've got a list of drivers that any one of them capable of winning the race. Some of them already have won it, and we have our annual 250. It's kind of like press conference. You know, it's all set up in press conference. So next week's show is all question and answers from the likes of Mike Rowe and Johnny Clark and DJ Shaw and Joey Dwyer and last year's winner Travis Benjamin, and some surprises that will be there. So
I just met Johnny Clark just recently.
Yeah.
You know, they hauled a lot of scrap when we had when the auto recycling business there. They did a lot of business with us, bought some of the salvage cars and recycled. So I knew his dad, but I met young Johnny there. He's what a great guy he is.
Yeah, no, it's a, you know, family. It's like Moody's Collision
Yeah.
Centers, you know. I mean,
Yeah, they're
it's
working up
all the
there.
families there, and
Yep.
you know,
There's no glory working on the junkyard, I can tell you. You know, just cutting up scrap, July, August, you know, you're sweating your rear end off, sparks flying everywhere, and you're out back, nobody's around, you know, but it's what you do, is just grind it out.
All right. Well, I know we wanted to talk racing and stuff, but I want to ask you. I mean, how's business? I mean, you
Good,
work.
yeah.
Award Champs LLC is Southern Maine's premier award supplier and official award supplier for many of the area's top organizations and events. If you're in need of an award for a sponsor, employee recognition, fundraising event, or an entire sports organization, call Todd Mead at Award Champ. They provide the best for less with competitive pricing like the big online firms, but give you the personalized service you can only get from a local supplier. When you're in need of awards or personalized gifts, call Award Champs, where they'll help you reward your champion.
Looking for for a great time, great people, and great food, then visit New England's #1 biker destination, Bentley Saloon, owned by legendary super-modified driver Bentley Warren. Bentley's is a biker bar that welcomes everyone. Staying in the area, Bentley's has their own full-service campground right on site. Tuesdays, Bentley's Cruise Night attracts car enthusiasts from all over New England. Located on Route 1 in Arundel, Bentley Saloon guarantees a great time. Check out the fun at BentleySaloon.com and see why Bentley says, who has more fun than us?
Patman's Redemption and Agency Liquor Store is located at 95 Tanberg Trail in Windham, Maine. With over 400 feet of hard liquor and 15 doors of ice-cold beer and soda, Patman's can handle all of your beverage needs. And if it's wine on your agenda, we have over 300 varieties in stock. Then when the party's over, Patman's can handle all of your Maine returnables, and we welcome all bottle drives. And if you're late for the race, drop off the bottles and pick up the cash at your convenience.
Hey, this is Pat Man himself, just letting you know that Pat Man's is your one-stop shop for all your thirsty needs.
All right. Well, I know we wanted to talk racing and stuff, but I want to ask you, I mean, how's business? I mean, you
Good,
work.
yeah. For all the listeners out there, or viewers, I should say, texting's a real problem. You know, I'm not trying to do a promo, no safe driving promo, but we've seen a big spike in accidents the last couple of years, and it's what you're going to attribute it to. I mean, the cars are actually safer. You know, there's collision avoidance and all that. But, you know, you get a phone, you get an iPad, whatever, and people are, you know, they're just habitual. And once they start hearing that ding, oh, who's trying to get a hold of me, take their eyes off the road, it's scary. You know what can happen. You know, I think the former Secretary of State, Charlie Summers, told me, if you close your eyes and you count to like 6, if you're going 60 miles an hour, you just traveled the length of a football field. So he said, you know, if you just take your eye off for just 3 or 4 seconds, what can go wrong?
No. And obviously, you enjoy the business because that's how you feed all the families and everything.
No, it's what
but still,
we do.
I mean, you know, we want to have the minor accidents.
Oh,
we
geez, I don't want, you know,
yeah,
that's
we don't
right.
want, you know.
Don't wish bad luck on anyone, you know, but it's, don't tax and drive. And
can we make a commercial about that? like
keep your eyes on the road and your hands on the wheel, right?
The next time you make those commercials, can you put me in it or something?
I was saving those cars. Think about, you know, last year we fixed 12, I think it was over 12,000 cars, trucks, you know, whatever, 12,000 vehicles. So it's nice to smash them up once in a while. That was fun.
Oh, I imagine it was, you know. Now, do you still got the 2 dimes you picked up down here in my gravel pit that day?
I could have. Yeah, I think I do. Do you need it? Well,
you got. We're down in the gravel
pit.
You come down and see the crusher, and Sean looks down, and there's 2 dimes. He bends down, picks them up. They'd been there for 2 or 3 days, and I parked my truck every day in the same, and I saw the dimes, and Sean picks them up and shines them up, and he says, "Here, I'll split it with you." And I says, No.
Oh, jeez.
You know, I've been looking at them for 3 days, and I was too lazy to bend over and pick them up, so you can have them both. So we put them in his pocket.
I know. I just always been wicked frugal. That's why I think we did so well in the auto recycling. You know, we found value in anything. Anything we touched had some value to somebody. You had to find a source, whether it be obviously catalytic converters or really, you know, precious metal. But we found outlets for our tires. We found outlets for, you know, we reused the gas, the Freon. I mean, we 100% recycling on those vehicles. And then obviously, if people don't know, we sold our auto recycling business, Gorham Auto Parts, to LKQ, which is, you know, they lease off from us now. They're out back of the shop in Gorham. But that was, we took that yard, Craig Bernier, Steve Murphy, George Harrison, you know, that was our core crew. From the town was going to shut it down because it's like going to be a Superfund site. We bought that yard, and in 10 years, we were one of the leading auto recyclers in the country.
Yep.
And it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Cleaning that place up.
A lot of hard work.
Yep.
You know, and I appreciate you know, supporting what you do with us here on Mainely Motorsports, because I know, I mean, you know, we talk about off the air, you know, I mean, the advertising, you know, when you're doing 12,000, I mean, word of mouth is the best advertising, and you guys have that, you know, quality relationship with a lot of towns, you know, a lot of people understand.
We've been fortunate. We started an ESOP back in 03, an employee stock ownership plan. So 34% of our company, Moody's, right now is owned by, we got 130 coworkers that own stock in the company, a third of it. So you can bet they're pretty interested in what goes on a daily basis and building their company value. You know, they're the driving force. As much as people might think it's not me. I got 130 bosses I got to answer to, so I got to keep rolling. But that's been a great it's a retirement benefit that not many companies are able to afford to do for people because it is expensive and it's complicated. But that's been one of our pillars. But it's like you, Steve. When you first started, right? You remember hauling sand down to a Biddeford shop?
Oh, yeah.
That's when I first met you.
Yeah.
Back in 02, I think it was.
Yeah, we were hauling
12, 14 years ago. And you didn't have 2 cents. Well, you had the 2 dimes.
No, I should have
dropped them.
Yeah, I would have had 20 cents.
You lost the 2 dimes.
Yeah, no, I was just working here for Scott and,
Yeah.
trying to, and now it's, we've changed ownership and plugging away,
But I know right from the day I met you, I knew that you were going to be successful. I mean, you just had that drive. I could see it in your eye. And you know how to make a deal. Remember negotiated on it, and you
love
drove
the deal.
a high deal.
I love the deal.
Yeah, and I recognized that right away. And so I followed your career along. I followed you. And it's awesome to see how you've done. It really is. I'm proud of you.
And without people like you that believe in, and it's hard because everybody and it is hard because everybody in racing, they're all looking for sponsorship. So
right.
how does Sean Moody go out and sponsor this guy because he races at his track and and then this guy, by giving back to the TV show, now you're supporting everybody because you're keeping a show on that people tune in and they might see their car or their name and you're involved in the sport without having your name plastered on race
like
cars.
I said, I got 130 people to answer to, the shareholders, and they're not going to allow to just hand pick, okay, sponsor this one, don't sponsor that one, so this is a way that I can get support from them to say we're going to support the industry.
Yep.
Not just drag racing, circle track racing, motocross racing. I mean, that's what it's all about. We live it and breathe it. We've worked on vehicles since we were 12 years old, and that's who we are.
All right. Well, that's Sean Moody should be Governor Sean Moody. And
you don't need a governor at a racetrack, right?
What
no
about,
governor, hammer it down.
No. What about political career?
Nothing this way. Nothing this way. We'll see what happens down the road.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time and coming
My
down.
pleasure. My pleasure, Steve,
all you
to
do
be here.
for us and Mainely Motorsports, the off-season shows, and the Mainly Motorsports go-kart race that you've been right from the ground floor, and
you built that from nothing like you've done.
You put a lot of smiles on kids' faces when they're dragging them 6-foot trophies home.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right, we'll take a break and we'll be back when we talk about Loudon coming up this weekend.
I did not grow up in the car business. I started as a technician in a small garage, and now lucky enough to own my own dealership. I think buying a new car should be hassle-free with pricing up front. We like to negotiate with everyone the same way. Our goal is for our customers to feel good and make it easy and quick if they so desire. We pay our sales staff to help satisfy your needs, not to collect a traditional commission.
Southern Maine Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Maine's only Viper dealer, Route 1, Saco.
Award season event is going on now.
Hi, I'm Scott from Scott's Recreation. We've already sold over 150 campers this year. If you visited one of our stores and we didn't get to you, I apologize. We've been really busy. We still have over 200 units in stock with savings up to $10,000 on new 2014 travel trailers, up to $25,000 on new 2014 fifth wheels and toy haulers, and new motorhomes starting at just $59,000. Huge selection, low prices, easy financing.
Scott's Recreation, Turner and Manchester, Maine.
For a trusted name in residential and commercial site work in the Southern Maine area, call Peter Pettit Excavating. We can handle everything from the complete house lot to those nasty water and sewer line repairs. Septic systems are another area that we specialize in. During the snow season, Pettit Excavating has the equipment to handle any size job.
And when the race season arrives, be sure to follow the number 7 Hewitt's Family Restaurant Chevrolet on the past Super Late Model Tour.
Call 207-282-9305 to get the job done right. That's Peter Pettit Excavating.
Mainly Motorsports TV, brought to you by
Bentley Saloon, Route 1 in Arundel. Stop by and see why me and my friends say, who has more fun than us? We do.
Clark's Car Crushing, providing guaranteed honest weights with top dollar being paid.
Welcome back to Mainly Motorsports, and on the phone now is the guy that's probably going to be the most excited guy over at New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend, and that's Eddie McDonald, and we want to welcome you to Mainly Motorsports, Eddie.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, how you been?
Good, and you've got a couple wins this year. Obviously, the Governor's Cup, winning that race down to Bristol, but this almost getting it to make a Sprint Cup debut in front of fans that have watched you grow up on the short track at Lee USA Speedway and followed your career in the Busch North and K&N deal has got to be right up there with those two wins, huh?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It really is a dream come true, and I just can't thank Archie St. Hilaire enough for giving me this opportunity. talking before, he gave me my first start in a nationwide race, and now it's going to be my first start in the Sprint Cup Series. So just really excited, and just can't wait to get on the track and see how much different those cars really are.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but I think you're up for the task, and you understand the job at hand. But whenever opportunities like this present itself, I had Sean Moody on earlier in the show, and we talked about kids when they first start bouncing that basketball. Or first time Dad puts the glove on your hand, he's thinking of you as a major leaguer. So, the first time Red and Judy put you behind the wheel of a stock car over at Lee USA Speedway, do you think they ever dreamed that you'd be making the Sprint Cup debut at New Hampshire Motor Speedway many years from then?
Well, I'm sure we all dreamed of it. I know we, my father and both myself have dreamed about this. Knew that it was really far reach, and it was getting pretty late in my racing career to have this all happen. But it's going to be so exciting to be able to have my father there, and my mother, and my father lives for racing, so to have him there and be there for my first Sprint Cup races, it's going to be just so exciting. I can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, and like I said, I think of the parents, because they're the ones that, when before Eddie had a job, and before Eddie, it was their money, and it was them doing it, and then, so all them years of hard work. And when you're going to get announced on that stage, the same stage that Earnhardt will get his cheers, and Johnson will get his, and some of the other guys, and they're going to say, from Raleigh, Mass, Eddie McDonald, and your parents, that's just, and then all the people over the years that have helped you get to that point, from the guy that might have bought you a tire one night to, obviously Grimm Racing and some of the other ones along the way, huh? This is for all of them.
Yes, it definitely is. Like you said, there's just so many people that from the time I started racing and till today, so many people that contributed to that and made it so that I could get to the next race or to the next level, and so it's just so many people to thank, and just I hope that all of them can be there Sunday and watch it, and hopefully we'll have a pretty good run, and we're hoping to have a respectable run. That's all we're really looking for.
Yeah, and then to see the track, what they did with the ticket packages, and really promoting you coming and racing at the track. That's a big deal. That's you've got a New England behind you.
It really has been amazing with all the support, especially from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and just everyone's gotten behind this and really has been pushing, and it was kind of keeping things quiet until we had everything finalized, and luckily in the last couple weeks everything started really coming together, and so it's just it's going to be such an exciting weekend. The whole weekend's going to be, I'm going to have to take it all in.
Yeah, and that's the worst part. You got so much stuff with the rookie stuff and everything else that you're going to be busy that, probably it won't be till Tuesday or Wednesday that you can sit back on the couch at home and kind of reflect on everything that you just went through, and all the well wishes and all that. And, talk about some of the people that really stepped up. Obviously, we know Archie did, but there had to be some others that stepped up to even make this possible.
Yeah, definitely Mike from Androzine, which is great. It's he's a sponsor of the car, and his office is 20 minutes from my shop in Beverly, Mass, and for him to jump on board with this, and Archie presented it to him, and they came up together with this idea, and so he jumped on board, and they've got a real sharp looking car, and really excited. He's going to have his company up there, and we really want to be able to have a great showing for everyone up there, and I just hope that I can pick up the learning curve fast enough.
Well, you've succeeded at every level that you've come in contact with, so success obviously on this weekend will be gauged a little bit different than a win. At this level. We all know the budgets of the top teams, and we had Archie on in the spring, and we talked about what his budget is, and there's no shame in what his budget is. It's still, he's competing on, there's only going to be 43 of you that are going to be announced and in the starting grid, and, so you are at that level, but you also, like Archie made reference to earlier in the year, you know, you're not at that level with the Hendrick with their $22 million budgets. So, you know, racing, like you said, in respectability and where you think you need to be and where you can be, and that's a win for the whole organization as well as you.
That's true. Yeah, we're going in this thing realistic, and you know, we're going to try to figure out some realistic goals, and you know, just try to make every single lap that we can, you know, make it worth it, and you know, stay out of trouble, and make sure we're there for the finish at the end, and you know, just hopefully we can get, you know, one of their better finishes for the year. But you know, it's you know, it's definitely going to be a learning curve for myself, and everything. I want to say Friday will be the first time ever making laps in a Cup car, so really looking forward to that moment and seeing how much different it is with all the horsepower and a little bit heavier cars. So it should be exciting.
And it's a huge weekend for New England Motorsports fans. I mean, obviously you and the K&N deal on Friday, watching you qualify the pole day. You know, Austin Terrio, who you've raced with on you know, the ACT Tour level, making his nationwide debut at that track with Junior Motorsports, and then, you know, the fans being in attendance Sunday for you. So there's a lot to cheer for, you know, I call them the viewers of Mainly Motorsports, but basically the New England-based race fans.
Yeah, there really is. You know, it's going to be a great weekend altogether. Hopefully the weather cooperates with everything, and you know, hopefully we get a lot of fans out there to cheer us on. You know, I know Austin will have a good run. You know, I've been watching him. He's had some success, so it's nice to see him, you know, local guys, you know, being able to run at that level.
Yeah, it is. So we don't want to keep you, Eddie. We know you got a lot to do, and you know, Loudon's just around the corner. I mean, you're going to be there in a few days, so you know, good luck from all of us on Mainly Motorsports, and glad you had the time to give us a few minutes and talk about this big experience and great opportunity that you've been given by Archie and the whole race team.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on and talking about this. I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. And that's Eddie McDonald making his debut this week in the Sprint Cup Series over at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Award Champs LLC is Southern Maine's premier award supplier and official award supplier for many of the area's top organization and events. If you're in need of an award for a sponsor, employee recognition, fundraising event, or an entire sports organization, call Todd Mead at Award Champ. They provide the best for less with competitive pricing like the big online firms, but give you the personalized service you can only get from a local supplier. When you're in need of awards or personalized gifts, call Award Champs, where they'll help you reward your champion.
We've got the car you've been looking for at OT Motor Sales. Shop online at otmotorsales.com.
Not sure what brand tire to buy? Town Fair Tire has them all. Michelin, Goodyear, Firestone, Bridgestone, Pirelli, Toyo, Yokohama, Hankook, and more. No matter what size or brand, Town Fair Tire beats all the competition, even online prices. We'll also do a free front wheel alignment with any tire purchase. Name brand tires, the lowest prices, free alignment. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
Welcome back to Mainly Motorsports. And in our last phone interview, you heard me and Eddie McDonald making reference to the big event down to Loudon. Obviously, a lot of Maine, New England connection going on down there. And we traveled over to Beech Ridge Motor Speedway this past weekend for the SouthernMaineMotors.com. Obviously, everybody knows the involvement I have with the 24 and Mike Rowe. But a lot of eyes focus on, and I listened during driver introductions, the young man from Fort Kent, Austin Terrio, has a big fan base, a big following, and really has put himself out there and has done a great job in marketing himself as a racer and all he does. And you know, we heard from him after he won his big ARCA debut over at Michigan, and he was at Beech Ridge racing in front of the hometown crowd over there in Scarborough, Maine, and supporting the sponsor that he has, Southern Maine Motors, Jeep, Chrysler, you know, which they are a big supporter of him. Mulkern Racing is a supporter of him. And you know, so we caught up with Austin after his runner-up finish, and we wanted to hear what his take was and what he had to say about this upcoming weekend's big deal at New Hampshire Motor Speedway over at Loudon, and you know, how focused he was, and what he was anticipating as far as for his weekend, and you know, what results that him and the team would be looking for. So enjoy what Austin has to say about his upcoming weekend's event, you know, being involved in the Nationwide 200 over there at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
All right, Bob, you just finished the short track race, but now all focus turns to Loudon this week. I mean, we've talked about it before, and we can't reiterate enough about how big of a deal this is for you.
It's a big deal. You know, we had a decent showing tonight. Joey had a good car, and we just didn't quite have enough for him. But switching gears, you know, before I forget, we got to thank Southern Maine Chrysler Dodge Jeep for sponsoring the race and sponsoring my car. And you know, wouldn't be racing here without them.
So they're a big supporter of you, the pastor, obviously, Scott Mulcair.
They're a big supporter of racing in general. But switching gears to next week, like you said, huge opportunity. I get some time at Loudon, you know, but it's going to be another learning experience. We got some track time, got some practice, but we've seen the past couple weeks the 5 car has been really good. So
yeah, coming off the win this week in Daytona,
and last week too.
You know, so yeah, 2 in a row. So
we got some big shoes.
What do we do? Do we three-peat?
Well, we're going to try to three-peat, but you know, at the same time, you try to set realistic expectations. And we did going into Iowa, top 10 finish, and we were running in the top 10, but we had some things happen at the end. And I think Loudon, that's realistic. You know, approach going into the race, and just going to rely on the experience that the 5 team has in junior motorsports in general, and try to take the Bet Bomb Chevrolet into a top 5 position in the race.
You know, I talked to Eddie McDonald earlier in the show, and obviously he's making a Sprint Cup debut, and with Archie, who gave you your first start down there with the Young Gun program. So it's great to see a guy like Archie still out there giving back. Yep. When we talked about what it's going to mean to be called out over that stage in front of your home crowd, same with you. What's it going to mean? You know, you had it with the K&N deal, a little bit softer, ambient, but you know, the Nationwide deal, they kind of amp it up. What's it going to mean to you to hear that, knowing that half of Fort Kent's probably going to be in the audience, the other half's got it tuned in, all the fans that you have throughout New England pulling for you are going to be there or watching and cheering for you?
Well, the opportunity Archie gave me in the K&N race was a good starter. I mean, it gave me some track time in a heavier car, and so going into this race, it gives me an idea of what I want to feel, but like you said, walking across that stage, it's going to be an awesome feeling, because you're going to have all of New England, you know, so either supporting probably. I don't want to say it for sure, but either, you know, Eddie or me, you know, and to have both of us representing him in the Sprint Cup Series and me in the Nationwide Series, I think is good for New England racing in general.
Well, this is if you're not a fan of you or you're not a fan of Eddie because you race against their favorite guy, this is a day that they put that aside because you're their guy that races against their guy, so they want to cheer for you. You know.
And I don't take this opportunity lightly. There's a lot of people that would want to be in my position that are, you know, just as good, maybe even better. But it's all about making the best and taking every opportunity, making the best of it. Like I said, if you make mistakes, learn from them. Try not to make them again. But it's all a learning process and a journey that we're all on. And looking forward to next week.
Then when you come back from Loudon, focus turns right to the 250.
It turns right to the 250. You know, pretty much after the race is done. It's we've come close the past couple of years there, and I don't think we're going to have a problem running up front again there this year. We've got a pretty good setup for Oxford. We ran pretty decent first past race, and we'll see what happens. But that race is so long, and there's so much that can happen. Oh, yeah. You just got to be in a position, the last pit stop. Don't wreck or don't do anything weird. Don't take chances.
Yeah, but this is a big week coming up for you and your family. You've worked so hard. You deserve these opportunities, you know. And you know, a lot of people think you sit there and, you know, they think you just sit there and it all comes to you. But you were. I mean, you're the kid that packed up at 18, relocated to North Carolina, didn't take mom and dad with him. You know, basically on your own. I mean, obviously surround yourself with good people, and you've worked to get where you are, and good things come to those that work hard. And we wish you all the best of luck, and we enjoy the time that you give us and the viewers of Mainely Motorsports to keep you abreast of your racing career.
I appreciate your support, Steve, and it's meant a lot. You've done a lot for me. It's been an exciting journey. We still have a long way to go, but just taking one race at a time, and hopefully we get a chance to talk next week.
We're a lot closer now than we were as that 15 or 16-year-old up at Spud Speedway running his first little late model race, right?
Yeah.
Seems like yesterday, doesn't it?
It does. It seems like yesterday, but those were exciting times, and these are exciting times. Just, taking in every moment.
So everybody that's either down the loud or tuning in on the TV, pull for the number 5 in Austin, Ontario, and if he can three-peat with that 5, bring it to victory lane. How big a deal is that? I mean,
it would be huge. It would be huge, and the team is definitely capable of it. We've seen it capable of it, and the whole organization is capable of it. But we'll just, we'll keep chugging away at it and get faster and faster as the weekend progresses. Who knows? We might be in a position at the end of the race.
Yeah. Well, good luck from all of us at Mainely Motorsports, Austin, and we'll catch up with you after the race.
Appreciate it.
Today's vehicles are equipped with complex safety features such as anti-lock brakes, seatbelt restraints, and airbag systems. Even collision avoidance systems. Not available on all models. Hi, I'm Sean Moody from Moody's Collision Centers. We don't wish bad luck on anyone, but even with today's technology, we need to keep our eyes on the road and our hands on the wheel.
Moody's Collision Centers, now with 9 locations in Maine.
Looking for a great time, great people, and great food? Then visit New England's #1 biker destination, Bentley's Saloon, owned by legendary super-modified driver Bentley Warren. Bentley's is a biker bar that welcomes everyone. Staying in the area, Bentley's has their own full-service campground right on site. Tuesdays, Bentley's Cruise Night attracts car enthusiasts from all over New England. Located on Route 1 in Arundel, Bentley's Saloon guarantees a great time. Check out the fun at BentleySaloon.com and see why Bentley says, who has more fun than us?
Mainely Motorsports TV, brought to you by
Scotch Recreation. Whether you're thinking about your first camper or looking to upgrade your current one, Scotch Recreation can help you. Get both our Route 202 Manchester and our Route 4 Turner locations and online at scotchrecreation.com.
LKQ Core. Any part, any repair, anywhere. Located on Route 202 in Gorham.
when you're in need of awards or personalized gifts, call Award Champs, where they'll help you reward your champion.
Welcome back to Mainely Motorsports, and like we've made reference for the last few weeks, July is such a huge month in the state of Maine and actually all of New England as far as racing goes. And you know, kicking off, a lot of tracks have double race weekends, Beechridge and Oxford. Oxford was unfortunate, they lost an event again, and as they prepare for the upcoming 250, which is just, you know, as you're seeing this a week and a half away, and you know, all signs point to 75, 85 cars competing for one of roughly 40 starting spots, and you know, it's anybody's guess who wins that race. And you know, some guys that were peaking struggled at Beechridge. Other guys that were struggling had a great night at Beechridge. So, and then you throw in the guys that had just missed the consistency. And you know, on next week's episode, we have the Oxford 250. We call it the fan conference. We invite the fans to come and listen to the questions that we have for the drivers, and you know, so really excited about that. But before we get to Oxford, you have this weekend at Loudon. A lot of your local Saturday night tracks still run, but Loudon is a big deal this weekend, and you know, they're doing a great job. They got the track prepared. We got the New Englands. You've heard from a couple of them. Austin Terrio, Eddie McDonald making his Sprint Cup debut, driving for Archie St. Hilaire, who's, you know, you heard in Austin's interview, gave him his first opportunity as he won the Young Gun Challenge versus all the young talented drivers here in the state of Maine. So it's really good that we can follow along and see these guys, and hopefully cheer them on to a very successful day. And you know, we all know it, competing at that level, a win isn't constituted by standing in victory lane. A win is, you know, running your best, and you know, at the end of the day, loading the car in the trailer with positive results. And hopefully both Eddie and Austin are able to do that. And I know there'll be a lot of people down there cheering them on from you know, from all over New England, and more in particular Maine and New Hampshire. But when you do go down there, if you're looking for a place to camp, you still haven't decided on a camping, or when you pull in on Sunday or Saturday or even Friday, looking for that place to park, Speedway Sports Park, Harry Franson, big supporter of motorsports, has been for years, participated at both our Northeast Motorsports Expo and then the Racing Preview Show. He has camping sites still available. Me and my family will be camping down there with Harry throughout the weekend, and we're really excited. The kids have never gone to that extremes. They've gone to the race, so really excited. Harry takes care of everybody. I've already seen on Facebook, and people are showing up and setting their campers up. Some familiar names and people that I'm Facebook friends with or seen at the racetrack, so looking forward to catching up with them, talking about the race season and how it's going, and even parking. I mean, it's easy in, easy out. It's it's accessible to the track. You can see in the picture the track is just on the other side, easy walking into the track. So really think about supporting Harry if you're going down that way and you need a place to park, or you still haven't settled on where your camp is going to be. It's probably the closest place you're going to be, unless you're in the infield in one of those or up on the hill. Unless you're a Cup driver or owner, or up on the hill on the backstretch, it's probably the most accessible place to have a camper and be able to get in and out and get around and see everything. So, there's just so much going on down there this weekend. And then, this past week in the racing, I traveled over to, like I said, Beech Ridge a couple nights, and congratulations on Tuesday night over to a couple of first-time winners. Reed Lamper, the 16-year-old that we've heard a lot about, similar to like the likes of Austin Terrio, drove for Junior Motorsports last year, has had some opportunities racing at the super late model level now. We've seen him lead laps at some pass races and picked up what used to be the marquee event on the schedule down at Beech Ridge, but since pass has come in and Beech Ridge has their own 125 lapper, it's taken a little back seat. But as far as crowd-wise, it's one of the nights you're going to race in front of the biggest crowds because of the fireworks. So Reed Lamfer and his entire team, crew chief Jason Ricker, sponsor Scott's Recreation, which is also a supporter of this program, were the dominant car, and they picked up the win in fine fashion. And nothing like seeing that first-time winner. I love it because you see the parents and the family and some of the crew guys get to be shuttled over from the pits, and Beech Ridge does a great job with that, and getting them involved in that first victory lane celebration. And another guy that we've seen dominate over there on Thursday Thunder and picked up the win in the Wildcats and really drove his butt off to get that win is Chaz Briggs. And Chaz did a great job. This is his first year in the Wildcats. He's a rookie, and to pick up a win, same thing on that type of night. And then on Saturday night with the SouthernMaineMotors.com 150, when you're on the undercard, and we've always said this, when you're on the undercard of a big event, a pass race, ACT race, Valente Modified Series race, anytime you're racing on the undercard, those are the nights you want to win because you got a different crowd, you got a bigger crowd, and a little bit more prestigious win. And on Saturday night, Jake Medore, number 69 in the Sports Series, picked up the win, and very excited for him and the family. I believe it was his first win ever over there, and he's run good at times, and and he's had his nights where things just haven't gone his way. So it was good to see them pick up a win and end up in victory lane on that night that the Pastor was there, and a lot of your extra fans and friends end up going on those nights. So congratulations to all the winners, as well as other tracks throughout Maine and New England. And we'll come back. We'll show you a little preview of what next week's show is going to be, and then we'll show you the results here on Mainely Motorsports.
Get the right car at the right price. OTMotorsales.com.
Not sure what brand tire to buy? Town Fair Tire has them all. Michelin, Goodyear, Firestone, Bridgestone, Pirelli, Toyo, Yokohama, Hankook, and more. No matter what size or brand, Town Fair Tire beats all the competition, even online prices. We'll also do a free front wheel alignment with any tire purchase. Name brand tires, the lowest prices, free alignment. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
Welcome to Mainly Motorsports.
To order copies of a show, send a check or money order for $15, shipping and handling included, to Mainly Motorsports, 326 Roosevelt Trail, Windham, Maine, 04062. And please add a description of the show.
Welcome to this week's edition of Mainly Motorsports, and what I consider a very special edition of Mainly Motorsports as we are preparing for this upcoming weekend's Oxford 250. And last year's winner and defending champion of the race, Travis Benjamin. The runner-up last year that led a lot of laps and looking to one-up himself this year, Joey Dwyron. Three-time winner of the race and 150 wins at the track, Mike Rowe. Six-time winner of the past North Championship, and that's Johnny Clark. Four-time winner in 2014, one in the South, three in the North, and that's DJ Shaw. And weekly competitor and two-time top 5 finisher of the Oxford 250, and that's Sean Martin. All right, it's only fitting that we start off with last year's winner and defending champion, Travis Benjamin. And Travis, when you walk into that track on Sunday, what is that going to feel like to you and your team, being the defending champions and knowing everybody's looking at you?
It's good to know that.
Now, Joey, you finished runner-up last year. If you would have finished runner-up this year, disappointing, or compare a runner-up this year to last year?
I would say it.
Now, Mike, you've competed in this race over 30 times. Is it still special, and what makes it so special?
It sure is, you know, and when you got the caliber drivers right here today, any one of these guys can win that thing.
Now, Johnny, we had you here last year, and let's be honest, coming into this race, you didn't feel as comfortable and confident as you had in years past, but for 2014, you're really running well, and so the confidence level of you and your team has got to be at an all-time high.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't think we've had as good of a shot going back to 2004, 2005 to win this thing. And
now, Deej, Johnny just talked about the extra distance race. Do you treat the 250-lap race a lot different than you treat a 150-lap race as far as race on-track strategy, not so much pit strategy, but the on-track strategy? Now, Sean, you're the weekly guy. These guys race tour races every week. You're the weekly guy. What do you do different for your car to show up on that Sunday to try to win that race than you would on a regular Friday night up there?
Well, really, we base our whole season around.
Shine my brain, making everyone complain. Radio in my heart, don't be being so strange. Think I'm losing it, baby, where have you been? Everybody says that you're moving again. I don't wanna be right, baby, every single night. I can tell you everything about taking your time. It's making me nervous, yeah.
Out of the car, we're running applause for Craig after that hard hit.